ராமனின் காலடிப்பட்ட ராமேஸ்வரம். அங்கே ஸ்ரீராமர் அக்கினி வில்லை ஏந்தி அமைதி நிலைநாட்ட வில் தொடுத்தார். அதே மண்ணில் பிறந்த நம் முன்னாள் ஜனாதிபதி APJ அப்துல் கலாம் அவர்கள் அக்கினி, பிருத்வி, வாயு என்ற முக்கணைகளை தொடுத்து உலகமே மூக்கின் மேல் விரலை வைத்து வியந்திடும் வண்ணம் ஏவுகணைகளை ஏவினார். கனவு காணத் தவறாதே. இரவிலா? இல்லை, பகலில் கணாக்களைக் காண். அது பகல் கணா ஆகிவிடக் கூடாதே என்பதற்காகவே கனவு காணுங்கள், அது உங்கள் லட்சியத்தை சாதனையாக்கட்டும் என்றார்.
Kalam was born on 15th October 1931 to Jainul-Labdin and Ashiyama. Their middle-class household on the Mosque Street in Rameshwaram was located very close to a temple and a mosque. Kalam visited both, imbibing secularism from early childhood. Dr. Kalam's father, the senior Jainul-Labdin, ferried pilgrims on his sailboat from Rameshwaram to Dhanushkodi and back, until the Pamban Bridge collapsed in a cyclone. During the Second World War, Kalam sold tamarind seeds and delivered newspapers, making an anna each time, feeling a surge of pride earning his own money for the very first time. While at the Rameshwaram Elementary School, Kalam acquired most of his learning at the personal library of STR Manikam, a former revolutionary. He later became a voracious reader and a keen student, going on to study at the Schwartz High School in Ramanathapuram. After graduating with a BSc degree at St. Joseph's College in Tiruchirappalli, Kalam's natural fascination for the mysteries of the sky and the flight of birds drew him to the Madras Institute of Technology. In 1958, Kalam wanted to become an Air Force pilot and was very dejected not to make it. But he accepted the job offer as Senior Scientific Assistant at the DTD&P Air in Delhi as a matter of destiny. 3 years later, when the Aeronautical Development Establishment was set up in Bangalore, Kalam successfully accomplished the impossible task of building an indigenous hovercraft prototype against all odds. A chance meeting with the then director of the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, Professor M.G.K. Menon, led to a job with the Indian Committee for Space Research. Soon he was sent to NASA on a 6-month training program on sounding rocket launching techniques along with R. Aravamudan.
A few days ago, we were talking to him, both myself and my wife. Both of us know him for a very long time. And my wife asked him, supposing in 1965, when you were walking on the streets of Trivandrum, somebody stopped you and said, "Look, Kalam, you are going to be President of India after 40 years. What would your reaction be?" He said, "I would have laughed out aloud. I would have thought it was the greatest joke on earth." Therefore, in the early days, there was no indication of his rise to this eminence. But I think there was an evolution over a period of time, and in the 70s, 80s, and so on, as he became more and more involved in national projects, he was exposed to various kinds of people, including politicians, national leaders, big scientists, and so on. And he was able to hit it well along with them. I mean, he was able to move very gracefully with them. And I'm sure he would, though he is not a politician and he has not had this, what I would call management of politicians, I'm sure he will be able to do it when he becomes president. Because of his innate ability to work with people without imposing his persona on them, I'm sure he will be able to make a very excellent president.
Apart from his ability to motivate and bring out the best in people, even in the most trying circumstances, it is Dr. Kalam's vision and conviction for India's future as a developed nation that others find inspiring.
He has always believed, and I feel what he said is right, unless you are a strong country, nobody will look at you. It is only strength respects strength. If you are strong and then you preach peace, people will listen. If you are weak and you preach peace, nobody will listen. So the strength is your nuclear capability, your conventional weapon capability, and your economic capability. Okay? That's what he has been advocating for, I think, decades. And I do feel that's the way to go about it.
The Vikram Sarabhai Space Center in Trivandrum provided the ideal cradle of growth for both Kalam as a rocket scientist and India's future defense systems. His association with and able guidance from Vikram Sarabhai, Professor Brahma Prakash and Professor Satish Dhawan at VSSC led to the successful launch of the indigenously built satellite launch vehicle SLV-3.
And Dr. Brahma Prakash was the director of the Vikram Sarabhai Space Center in the period when the first vehicle was developed. And so enormous support from Brahma Prakash came for the realization of this vehicle, because there are several systems, several groups, and thousands of people have to work together. There has to be synergy. And obviously you need the best of the support from the top. And it is here both Professor Dhawan and Dr. Brahma Prakash helped Kalam to organize and direct this program at the level of project director that he was for the SLV-3.
What makes Kalam a living legend is his association with some high-profile projects related to developing missile systems to develop a strong defense system for India, and his association with a nuclear device leading to the title Missile Man.
We are delighted to inform all of you that the mission 100% successful. Thank you.
His contribution is phenomenal insofar as that in terms of the delivery system, Kalam's role, he visualized it, he executed the whole program, the Agni program. After all, if you have a bomb but you can't deliver it, then what's the use? And Kalam's contribution is this surface-to-surface missile system, which very few countries have, and no one is willing to sell the technology. And Kalam showed that it could be built indigenously, and now it's in its class, state of the art.
But Kalam is first a humanist. He believes in science with a human face. For him, science and technology are tools for human welfare and development.
The missile man is all right, but is also very often he interacted with us for health purposes, how best to give cheaper treatment to the people, poor people living in remote areas. That was his idea. And then he also emphasized that as far as possible we should not import the material, because one, it is costlier, second, not everybody can afford that material. First of all, we need some native material for health purposes, for medical purposes. For example, this stent, and also they are thinking in terms of valves. For example, catheters, both used in cardiology, neurology, neurosurgery, general angiographic techniques. We use lots of catheters which are imported and which are very costly. Sometimes we use it several times after gas sterilization. So he instituted a cardiac foundation and then encouraged us to make these catheters locally.
His vision has led to spin-off applications of defense technologies in areas of public health and human welfare. The floor reaction orthosis project to help the handicapped is a case in point.
Flow reaction orthosis is, in other words, a synthetic caliper which would replace a metallic caliper. Normally, metallic calipers are custom built, and they take about 2 to 3 days to build and weigh anywhere from 3.5 kilograms to 6 or 7, depending upon the size of the patient. They are very cumbersome. Then the patient cannot wear a normal footwear.
Costing 1/10 the price of metallic calipers, the new calipers are made of composite plastic used in making nose cones for rockets. They are highly heat resistant, malleable and biocompatible, and built on the revolutionary modular technology which makes it possible to have standardized sizes.
Most of the people think that he is a good medical scientist, but I would put it as he is an excellent production manager as well. So while the whole process was under research, he smelled much before us that we are going to succeed. And a year, 2.5 years before the project came to an end, he started involving the production agencies, and also he started involving doctors from other parts of the country to train them in fitment of this. So he saw the outcome about a year and a half ahead of us.
जी हमारे को हमारे दीदी ने बताया उन्होंने.
My sister told me about these new calipers. That's how I went to the hospital. Now I can wear these and walk comfortably. I can walk comfortably for at least 2 to 3 kilometers.
कंफर्टेबल रहता है अभी आसान से चल सकते हैं कम से कम 2-3 किलोमीटर तो चल सकते हैं.
The Kalam Raju stent used in angioplasty operations is another remarkable indigenous invention benefiting several patients in need and saving them money.
We started with the idea of stent, the metallic device which supports an artery after dilatation by balloon. But once the stents were introduced in the West, the restenosis rates as well as acute closure has significantly come down. But the imported stent was costing around 75,000 at that time. Most of our patients were not able to afford. This Kalam Raju stent is totally indigenous, and it is now available for a patient for a cost of 5,000 rupees, where the comparable stents now are around 25,000 to 50 or 60,000.
Despite all his illustrious achievements, Dr. Kalam lives an absolutely Spartan existence. His needs are minimal. His only worldly possession is a 3-bedroom and study flat he recently bought at the Central Government Employees Welfare Housing Organization in Yelahanka, Bangalore. A vegetarian by choice, Dr. Kalam also loves a good spicy South Indian meal.
Well, as I told you, if you had seen him in his early days, his room was extremely sparse. As you say, he was had a very Spartan existence. His needs were very, very minimal. Even a sheet on the floor and a small pillow is enough for him to have a bed. And he didn't have any special food. He used to ask the fellows to go and get a cup of tea from the tea shop and maybe a dosa or something from the corner restaurant. And he used to walk with us. He doesn't need any special kind of, even after he became famous, he didn't want any special kind of treatment.
While at the VSCC in Trivandrum, Kalam stayed at the Indira Bhavan, a small lodge where he was both comfortable and relished the appam and milk meal.
No one thought that he would be so great. He had no class consciousness, didn't talk much, but liked talking to the least important people. I wish he'd come here once more. We pray he's always fine and well.
It is for the first time that the first citizen of India will not be accompanied by his female counterpart, because Dr. Kalam never quite found the time to tie the knot.
He is an extremely focused man. When he works on a project, his total effort, direction, thinking is on that. He thought possibly that getting married would be distraction from his primary task. His mind was clear, his primary task is the project. I think he didn't really find time, nor he had an inclination to distract himself by getting married.
Of late, Kalam has also been concentrating on writing books about his vision to propel India towards strength and prosperity along a well-mapped road. The pages carry a commitment to transform India from a developing nation to a developed nation in the shortest possible time, and not surprisingly, these books already enjoy the status of bestsellers.
I was traveling, meeting people for the last 2 years, different parts of the country, one end to another end. I met people of all walks of life, and also children, young people, young members. And one thing I understood, that the type of enthusiasm and the spirit to win with our people is enormous. So it helped me to write a book, Ignited Minds. and unleashing the power of India.
In 93, when Dr. Kalam took over as a chairman, he just asked the council members, why not we look ahead? Very really long term. That is why 25 years, 95 plus 25 becomes 2020. And it was found that India can really excel in many areas. Natural resources, the talents, the industrial base, the agricultural base. So it is a roadmap in terms of agriculture, agro-processing, the whole set of them going up to advanced technology. One thing is there, Dr. Kalam has, wherever he has done, right from the sounding rocket days, SLV-3, in fact my first poem to him was after the SLV launch.
He is a fantastic fellow, if I may use his own terminology. Dr. Kalam is a very spiritual person, and if you work with him, you will get transformed. He can talk to your soul. He says, I am not interested in your present capabilities. I am interested in the potential hidden in you. Everybody can count how many seeds are there in an apple. Buddy, you should know how many apples are there in a seed, and then you have done something.
The scientist come technologist Dr. Kalam also has his lighter moments.
Yeah, he listens to radio, TV on the classical musics. You see, sometimes in some guest house where we are staying together, some background that classical music will go on, he will get lost into that. So he has got interest in classical.
Kalam is quite evidently the son of the soil and popular with all those he comes in contact with.
Mr. Kalam came here 15 years ago to repair slippers. He spoke to me in Tamil. I'm thinking now what a great man he must be to come and talk to us like that.
I'm proud to be a student of the same school where Bharat Ratna Abdul Kalam used to study.
We feel we might lose him, as a friend. I mean, we are thrilled that we are having somebody of that caliber as the President of India, and we need people like him. But personal loss might be that we might miss our morning walks.
This is the best thing which can happen to the nation, and the best thing I would say, because he's a person who's been regarded by all this society, all the sectors of all the sections of the society, and he's a very learned man. And I would like to tell, even if I am not there tomorrow, but nation I strongly feel is in the safe hands. That's another 5 years are going to be great. He's always very focused on his work, what is to be done at that time. Say, suppose if a rocket has to be fired by another 15-20 days, he will be after that individual system, getting it done and doing it. But while doing so, he is also always has a little bit longer term vision and very considerate to his team members.
Well, I think he'll be seen as a very unique person in history because he's somebody who has risen from being a scientist to being the President of India. Now you can say Dr. Radhakrishnan was a philosopher, became the President of India, but he was always close to Congress politics in one way or the other. He wasn't such an outsider. In his case, he is much too much of an outsider. He's an honest person, of course. He's the first bachelor to have the job.
For Dr. Kalam, occupying the highest office in the country is another milestone along the long and impressive road to growth and success. But the responsibility rests lightly on his shoulders of experience.
See, one thing unique about him is he has the ability to not only fill the place but even grow beyond the place. That is the innate capability of the man. Because he doesn't feel constrained by surroundings. In fact, it is he who decides how the surroundings should be. So with that capability, I think Rashtrapati Bhavan is nothing great about it.
And a grateful nation has shown its appreciation time and again by honoring Dr. Kalam with the highest awards and accolades. For his distinguished work, he has been felicitated with the Padma Bhushan in 1981, the Padma Vibhushan in 1990, the H.K. Firodia Award for Excellence in Science and Technology in 1996, and more recently the Bharat Ratna for 1997, the highest civilian award in India. For Dr. Kalam, the journey from Rameshwaram to the Rashtrapati Bhavan may have taken a good 7 decades. But clearly this seems like the logical next step along a long road to welcome growth. And this may not be his summit, for the sky is not the limit for Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam.
I am indeed delighted to get elected as the president, next president of India. We need a vision. That vision, second vision for the nation. India has to get transformed into a developed nation in 20 years' time. And our children, today's and tomorrow's children, will live happily with the value system of golden India, the prosperous India. That's the message what I have.
நம் வீரத்துறவி விவேகானந்தர் போல எழுமின் விழுமின் என்பதை உள்ளடக்கிய அர்த்தமோடு எழுமின், அதாவது எழுங்கள், விழித்து எழுங்கள் என்றார். நம் நாடு புதிய யுகத்தில் காலடி பதித்துள்ள நேரத்தில் புதுமை, கடமை, அறிவியல் புரட்சி என நம் முன்னாள் குடியரசுத் தலைவர் நாட்டை புதிய தெம்போடு முன்னெடுத்துச் செல்ல அருமையான கனவுகள் கண்டார். புதிய பாரதம் எப்படி அமையப் போகிறது என்பதை தொலைநோக்கு பார்வையோடு முன்னுரைத்தார். அறிவியலையும் அறவியலையும் நல்ல நெறியியலையும் மனதில் கொண்டு வல்லரசான இந்தியாவை படைக்கவே அவர் கனவு கண்டார்.
Friends, did you observe what happened there? I am the mission director. I am the project director. I have failed the missions. With me 5,000 people have worked. But Chairman, Indian Space Research Organization, he took the responsibility of the failure. He completely switched my failure to his failure.
பொக்ரான் அணுவியல் சாதனை அவர் புகழ் மகுடத்தில் ஒரு வைரக்கல். எளிமையாக தொண்டு புரியும் ஆற்றல் நம் ஒவ்வொருவருக்கும் வரவேண்டும் என்றே அன்றே எளிமையின் சின்னமாக அவர் விளங்கினார். இளைய பாரதத்தை உற்சாகப்படுத்த அவர் தவறவே இல்லை. அவரது பிறந்த நாள் நாட்டிற்கு புதுயுகம் பிறந்த நாள். ஒவ்வொரு இந்திய குடிமகனின் உள்ளத்திலும் கனவுகள் மொட்டவிழ்த்து கடமையாக நறுமணம் வீசும் நாள் இப்பொன்னாள். நாம் என்ன நினைக்கிறோமோ அதுவாகவே நாம் ஆகிறோம். நம் சிந்தனைகளின் உயர்வே நம் செயல்களின் உயர்ந்த வெளிப்பாடு. நமக்கான புதிய உலகை நாம் தான் படைக்கிறோம் என்று எண்ணி வாழ்ந்தவர் நம் அப்துல் கலாம். இந்த பாரத மக்களின் இதயங்கள் ஒன்று கூடி சொல்வது, பாரத ரத்னா அப்துல் கலாம் அவர்களே, உங்களுக்கு ஒரு மாபெரும் சலாம்.